Far away then.
Okay. Can I ask you a reaction to Peter Crouch's comment on Twitter, where somebody asked him, somebody commented on the fact that he wasn't doing very well for them on their FIFA game, and he said, well, at least I'm playing.
Yeah, it's quite well. From past experience, Pete's quite sharp on Twitter, so I always keep a lookout. Well, once people tell me that he's been on there, usually it's quite amusing. So got no comments about it. It's probably true. He's a little bit frustrated, but it is what it is. But he's showing good signs in training. When the right time to introduce him again, then we'll do that. But just got to be patient, like a number of other people at the moment, because we're winning games and playing well, so it's difficult to break in.
There must be a few getting frustrated, but does Peter Crouch come and knock on the door quite often? Does he want to know?
No, he doesn't do, but he has done in the past, and everybody gets to a point where they're frustrated sometimes when they feel they're not getting opportunities that they would like, but he's not the most forceful in that regard, but certainly he's knocked on my door and had a word in the past, as I would expect. He's a seasoned player, he's got a lot of experience that we value, but at the moment all the ones out of the team in a difficult situation from their point of view, because the team's playing well and we're winning games, so we're at the moment in the position that we just want a little bit of continuity, which we've lacked in prior to this run, and that was a difficulty that we had when we didn't have that continuity in selection, but we've had it in recent times and we've improved our performances as a consequence, so that is what it is at the moment.
Well, you benefited from Joe Allen not playing for Liverpool. They saw that he wanted to play football, so obviously he got the chance to come to Stoke. Would you offer that to Pete and perhaps some of the other players in January?
I'm not thinking in those terms, to be perfectly honest. It's about having a balance in the squad. Pete clearly gives us a different type of threat, and the key is to have different types of play to give opposition different types of problem. And you look at all our strikers; they all offer different things at different times in games, and Pete is very much a player that we value, as I've said before, and one that we'll use as we see fit. Some games he'll start, some he'll come on and make an impact. Others, unfortunately for him, he'll miss out. But that's true for any number of the players.
He'll have to work on his diving headers to play with Shaqiri, won't he?
Yeah, he's listen. Pete's one of the players that because of his career to this date, will always feel he can have an impact in games, and more often than not he does come on. If he doesn't start games, he comes on as a positive effect. We've got good players in forward areas at the moment, players that he probably feels he could benefit from, and they can benefit from his presence. So he's going to play a part this year, he knows that, and he'll get the right amount of games, I feel.
Did you compare Shaqiri to yourself and the manner of goals that he scores? Did I hear that?
No, not quite like that, but I just made the point. Some people used to say that I wasn't a great goal scorer, but the ones I scored were great goals, so I was trying to throw that analogy in, and I think it probably applies to Shaq. Last year didn't score as many as maybe he thought he should, and we probably agreed with him last year for the talent that he has. He probably needed to score more goals, but I think he's matched that total already in 4 or 5 games. So the feeling is that there's more to come from Shaq. He looks like he's got to grips with the Premier League, and as a consequence he's more positive in games and having an effect. Even if he's not scoring, he's playing incisive balls for other players to have chances to score themselves. So at the moment he's in a really good place.
3 with Marco and Joe Allen. How convinced were you that, because Joe Allen was playing as a holding midfielder, wasn't he, at Liverpool? So how convinced were you that he could play in a number 10 or a forward, more advanced role?
Well, I think I've said it for a number of weeks. I just felt that having watched him in training on a daily basis since he's come to the club. He's got a lot of attributes, ones that we all know and have seen in the past. But the main one for me was his anticipation of where the ball was going to land or bounce or break free when people are going into challenges. He always invariably seemed to be the one that came out with the ball or anticipate where the ball was falling. So from my point of view, I felt we needed a little bit more energy in forward areas as well. So clearly he was going to give us that. But the fact that he anticipates things, and if he can win balls in high positions in the field of play, then very quickly the opposition teams have a difficulty dealing with that, because they haven't got enough time to regroup and get their shape quickly if you can win balls in good areas. And clearly if we're putting balls into the box as well from crosses and what have you, then having somebody who anticipates where the ball's going to land is going to help you. And I don't think any of us thought he'd be as effective as he has been. I think Joe himself would admit that he's surprised himself, but long may it continue, because he's having a big impact. Didn't score at the weekend against Hull, but had a couple of good opportunities, and a lot of it came from his anticipation and his willingness to run beyond our front players. So he needs to continue to do that, because it's a big plus for us at the moment. 3
wins on the bounce now would be nice after the sort of worries about you early in the season.
Yeah, well, it's important. The Sunderland one was a big one, clearly, because we needed to get off and running in terms of maximum points. But even before then, we were playing well enough. We've been playing well for a number of weeks now, so we've had good performances. Now we're aligning them with good results as well. What home wins gives you is an opportunity to obviously get maximum points on the road, and then you're on a 2-game winning streak, and you've got a home game to come as well. So that gives you another opportunity to add to maximum points available. So we're looking forward to this Swansea game. It won't be easy. I think Swansea are a little bit like ourselves, certainly in the early part of the season, where they've got a lot of quality. When you look at the players that they have, you feel that they're in a false position, to be perfectly honest. I think it's only a matter of time before they start moving up the table. They've had a change of management. I'm sure the new manager will have a way of playing that he'll want to implement as quickly as he can. So that may take time, but I think given the talent that they have, you feel that they won't be in trouble for too long. But clearly we will try and make it difficult for them on Monday.
From a Welsh perspective, it's some story, isn't it? Over like 10 years from nearly going out of the Football League against Hull to being a sustained Premier League team.
Yeah, no, it's an incredible one, and you have to say over those years and during that period that they've made good appointments that have worked. They've been able to establish themselves. They've moved up with really an ease that maybe people thought they wouldn't be able to do, because they've seemed to cope with every step up in challenge, so to speak. Every time they've gone into a higher league, they've dealt with it and progressed, and they've got in the Premier League, and they've looked very, very comfortable for a long time now. Had a little bit of a wobble of late, and managerial changes don't help that, but I'm sure they're looking for the continuity that they've had in the past, which has enabled them to have the success they've had.
Do you hope Bob Bradley understands that sense of that history, that little folklore that Swansea have got coming from? I
would imagine he looks a very thorough guy. He looks. I don't know him personally, never met him. He looks quite intense. You would imagine that he'd done his homework, and that would have enabled him to impress his prospective new employees, and he's got the job on the basis of his knowledge and his experience. So I would have thought it'd be very unlikely that he wouldn't have known about this Swansea story.
Hi Mark.
Hi.
Any news on when Butland might return?
No, we are where we are at the moment. He's just progressing. He was out on the pitch yesterday. We're just trying to ease him through it and make sure that he doesn't get any setbacks. There's always a possibility that he may well get one, but we hope he doesn't. But we're still hopeful that we'll get him back in a matter of weeks rather than rather than the months. So that was always the case. Once he'd gone in for the second operation, we were hopeful he'd come back more quickly.
No guarantee he'll walk into the side given Lee Grant's current form.
Lee's done exceptionally well, I have to say. Since he's come into the team, he's looked assured, confident, made key saves at crucial times for us in games, and that's helped us have that defensive platform that's enabled us to build clean sheets and have a defensive shape and strength that maybe we lacked earlier in the season. So he's been a big part of that. So we're grateful that he's here. He's taken his opportunity, taking it with both hands, and we look really solid at the moment. And a big part of it, obviously, is that goalkeeping position looks quite solid at the moment.
Mark, obviously difficult with it being a Monday game to assess team news now, but anyone likely to be struggling?
No, we're waiting on Jeff. Jeff's the one doubt. Just right at it was very unfortunate right at the end of the game against Hull. He just got a tangle of legs with one of the Hull players on the byline. It was last seconds of the game, unfortunately. He's just hyperextended his knee a little bit, so he's a little bit sore. That's going to have to settle down to enable him to play. But we're hopeful come Saturday, Sunday at the latest, we'll get him back on the grass. And if he's okay, and he's going to have a little bit of pain, but if he can manage that pain and it doesn't inhibit him or hinder him in terms of what he wants to do on the pitch, then he should be okay. But he's probably the main doubt at the moment.
Mark, go on.
Sorry, go on.
Your squad's obviously come on leaps and bounds since you joined the club. Obviously, we mentioned earlier Crouchy and stuff. You've got so many talented players now, not just the starting 11 but also the bench.
Mm-hmm.
But how difficult is it to keep everybody happy when not only have you got the starting 11 but you're having so many big players off the bench as well as
it's not easy. We've got a good group of players, and almost every one of the 25 are senior players who would expect to play or have the ability to play, certainly in my team. But at the moment, a number of them have to be a little bit patient. But I have to say the group as a whole is really strong at the moment, and everyone's working hard. Everybody knows that in football things change very, very quickly, and they have to be ready. So that means you have to be conscientious in the work. You have to train correctly every single day. Even when you're out of the team, you have to do the extra work that we give players that aren't playing regularly. They have to do that at the right level as well. If they don't, then when they do get an opportunity, which they will do, they won't be able to make the impact that they should do, because if they haven't been conscientious, they haven't got the ability to do that. So every one of the group, I have to say, is excellent in that regard. They understand that they just have to be patient at the moment. The team's playing well, we're winning games, so it's a little bit difficult to really justify making changes at the moment. But the guys out of the team are working hard, and that's important.
Mark, if you keep a clean sheet on Monday night, it could be a third successive clean sheet. How important is that? Because obviously at the beginning of the season you were maybe shipping a few more goals than you would have liked to.
Yeah, no, clean sheets gives you a platform to be able to win games. You start with a point in the bag, and it's not as if we solely base our game plan on just protecting a 0-0. We look to win games clearly, but if we can keep those clean sheets coming, then obviously that's going to make it easier. With the attacking flair and ability that we have in higher areas of the field, then we're always going to create chances and look to score goals. And I think the confidence that the lads at the back and Lee are giving to the ones in front is quite marked at the moment. I think that allows them a little bit more freedom to really attack strongly, because they know that defensively we've got a good platform and we're quite sound at the moment, so that enables that freedom in their play as well. So it's helping our attacking play and clearly our defensive play at the moment.
Has it helped having Lee in the side in the starting 11? Obviously he's done quite well.
Yeah, I think he's come in. He's grabbed his chance, and he's a very experienced goalkeeper. He's played at a good level for a long time now, 300 odd games, and he's waited patiently for an opportunity at Premier League level to show people that he's a Premier League keeper, which he undoubtedly is, given what he's produced to this point. So given our circumstance, we're just delighted that he's been able to come and have the impact that he has, because it wasn't a given. We felt he was a good keeper, but you never know until they're actually thrown in, and you have to find out if they can swim or not. So Lee's come in to really good effect.
It's great that obviously Shaq's got as many goals as he scored last season. Joe Allen's obviously helped with the goals. Arnie's obviously been scoring as well, but he's still missing that prolific goal scorer. I know he brought Wilford in, but he hasn't.
No, well, Wilf is getting better. I think in every game he's having more of an impact. Clearly, we want him to start in the back of the net. That's what Wilf wants as well. He's a little bit frustrated at the moment because he senses that's clearly the part of the game that he wants to really make an impression with. But up to this point, he hasn't been able to do it. But maybe against his old team, that's the game that's going to get him off and running. Well, you think of the amount of times that happens when a former player comes back and haunts you as a manager, and you never know, Wolf might be able to do that to Swansea. Let's hope so.
Have you been able to help him with that frustration? Obviously, being a striker yourself, you've been able to.
We give him the work that he wants, leading into games. Clearly, we'll give him finishing practices. That's what we always give our strikers in terms of just giving them that sharpness. And sometimes it's just a case of allowing them to hear the ball hit the back of the net and remind themselves, well, how good that feeling is when the ball does hit the back of the net and they score a goal. So it's just about repetition of work, and if you do good work on a good basis and on a repetitive basis, then at some point that work will come to fruition and you'll start scoring again.
Do you think Swansea's a similar kind of club in that you've got similar kind of maybe goals and ambitions? You said they were in a false position, but the ownership and the people over the last few years, I'm talking about, not just recently, they're similar kind of setups? Yeah,
if you look at their path, I mean they've been able to win a major trophy as well, so they've done really well. We're top half team for a number of those seasons that they've been in the Premier League. But it gets harder and harder every year, you have to say, and you have to keep on progressing. If you don't, then you slip behind. So that's the challenge for everybody, clubs at our level. Clearly, we feel we've got good ambitions ourselves that will lead us to bigger and better things. But you still got to keep on progressing on and off the field to enable yourself to do that. And ourselves and Swansea have been good in that regard. But you can never take your eye off the ball.
Mark, there's been a lot of talk about your front line, Shaqiri and Nadovic and Joe Allen, of course. But one of the surprises, I think, certainly to Stoke supporters, is the inclusion of Jeff Cameron in midfield. What was your thinking there? Why have you brought him in?
I think the thing with Jeff is that sometimes you underestimate the effect that he can have on games in terms of his ability to get around the pitch and affect things and break things up. He does it with good effect. Clearly, when he's playing in more defensive positions like fullback or centre half, but I think we underestimate his value to the team sometimes, and sometimes he's been guilty because of the versatility that he's got, that people don't appreciate him in any given position on the field. I think defensive midfield or a role as central midfield player is something that he's more than able to deal with. I think the impact that he's had has clearly helped us as a team, and alongside Glenn, I think that solidity that they've given him has helped the guys at the back as well. So we encourage him not only just to be a defensive minded player as well, but we're telling him to get forward as well, and he's done that to good effect. Single call the Man United game, he had 2 or 3 good opportunities to score himself, and that's a case of getting him up the field and making sure he's in good areas to pick things up on the edge of the box. So he's an intelligent footballer as well, one that is an experienced international, and one that is playing really well at the moment, and we're grateful for.
Can I just, one more thing, Jeff Cameron obviously being an American player, has he had any insight on Bob Bradley? Has he
no, we haven't discussed him at any length, but surely near the time that's something that maybe can help in terms of an insight into an opposition manager that may be an ex-player. Clearly, I think Jeff has played under him at international level, so he'll have an idea of maybe how he approaches games. But the Premier League is new to him as a manager, so maybe it might take him some time to adjust to the demands of the Premier League. But clearly all managers have certain traits or certain ways of approaching games, so we might be able to benefit from that.
Perfect, thank you.
Okay, folks, thank you.
Okay,
Thank you.
no problem.
Thanks, Mark.
See you guys.